Thank you for listening to this episode. And a massive, massive thank you to Premier Dental for sponsoring this season of a Vietnam podcast. They've been my dentist for years now, and I cannot recommend them enough. So I wanted to introduce you to Dr. Albert Viet. He is a leading expert in periodontics and implant dentistry. Not only that, he was trained at the University of Melbourne in Australia and Columbia University in New York. And Dr. Lay brings over 20 years of global experience to every patient that he treats. So whether it's a complex implant, a sinus lift, or advanced gum treatments, just know that you are in expert hands right here in Vietnam, which I know for me as an expat, especially for something like dental treatment, you can be really worried about where the person's from, where they've studied, the care, the treatment that you're going to get. Had my wisdom teeth out recently and it was perfect, so I can't recommend them enough. Dr. Albert Viet is also certified by the American Board of Periodontology and currently the only dentist in Vietnam that is US board certified. If you're listening from overseas, just remember it is way cheaper to get your dental work done here in Vietnam and you can have a holiday at the same time. And one of the coolest things is you can actually book a consultation with Premier Dental over the phone and they'll be able to advise you on your treatment. So go to the link in the show notes or just Google them and make sure to let them know that you heard this on a Vietnam podcast. Premier Dental really is international standards, but with that amazing Vietnamese local care. And just remember, your smile absolutely deserves the best. If you're like me and you take care of your teeth, you're going to want to make sure that you book the best dentist in town. So book an appointment with them today. Thanks again, Premier Dental, for sponsoring a Vietnam podcast. Let's get started with this episode. Thanks for listening. Cheers. So you are a pro athlete. I can Google your name and find out stuff about you. I'm going to do a bit of a truth or lies. I don't know how much you know, how much is on the internet about you. Do you know why young people in Vietnam love basketball so much? Have you heard this yet? Welcome to another episode of a Vietnam podcast with me, your host, Neil Mackay. I started this podcast in 2019 as a hobby in my front room with one microphone. 6 years later, we are the longest running English language podcast in Vietnam. Maybe the longest running podcast in Vietnam. I should double check that, but the longest running English language podcast anyway. Started out my front room with one microphone. Now we have 2 microphones and some more equipment as well and 1 awards, which is incredible. The point of a Vietnam podcast is to share stories of people connected to Vietnam. That's why I started. I wanted to get to know the real story of people. Recently, I interviewed Sandler Ernst, and if you go back to that episode we started it off with, he said, I was just an English teacher. And that was actually the reason I started this podcast, because I don't believe anyone is just anything. Everyone's got a story to share. And one of the biggest things I get from people when I ask them to be on is they say, why would you want to talk to me? I don't have anything interesting to say. Everybody has something interesting to say, and especially my guest today. So a couple of weeks ago, I went to see the Saigon Heat down in dirty D7. I had to take my passport, pack a night bag. It was so far away. Went all the way to the Canadian school down in D7. Hadn't been for years. It was one of the noisiest, loudest nights of my life because they give you these clappers, and I'm interested to hear what that sounds like on the pitch or court, sorry, not the pitch. I'm showing my soccer, football brain there. I'm interested to hear what it sounds like on the court. Because I saw my guest today playing, and he actually, in my mind that day, he stood out right away. He was the best player on the court, and I thought, I want to get in touch with him. So we're going to talk about basketball in Vietnam, which I'm interested to hear about. We're going to talk about what it's like living in Vietnam and transitioning to living in Vietnam. And I want to hear about being a vegetarian here, because as I mentioned, I've gone through that process. So I haven't actually told him this. I stalked him during the game and looked him up, found him on Instagram, and then sent him a message and said, hey, I'd love to interview you on a Vietnam podcast. And he said, yes. So my guest today is a pro athlete with the Saigon Heat. He's only been in Asia for 9 months, 7 of that in China. So only in Vietnam for 2 months. He's also the author of 3 cookbooks all about healthy living and healthy eating. And he's been a vegetarian for 11 years, which I am actually really interested to talk about, because I was a vegetarian for 10 years and changed when I came to Vietnam. So we're going to get into all of that today with my guest, Davon Dillard. Thank you very much for coming on a Vietnam podcast.
Man, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
So tell me first of all about our drink that you brought, because I haven't even introduced that yet.
Oh, yeah. So what we have here today this is actually fresh. I just juiced this about maybe an hour ago. So we have some passion fruit, some mint, some ginger, a little key lime, and a lot of watermelon. Cheers.
Cheers. I just took a drink without even cheers, and that was so rude of me.
A little sweet, savory, but it has a refreshing taste to it.
That's delicious.
The mint, yeah.
So you are a pro athlete. I can Google your name and find out stuff about you. So I'm going to do a bit of a true or false with you, right? Or truth or lies. So you're going to tell me, I looked you up on the internet. I found out some information about you. I don't know how much you know, how much is on the internet about you. I actually Googled my own name as part of this process to see what, I was like, should check what's been said about me. There's actually an obituary for Neil Mackay.
Really?
That it's not me, obviously, because I'm not dead. But it was someone who was with my same name. I know there's a professor of mathematics called Neil Mackay as well. So I looked all this stuff up. But so the internet told me your weight. So is it true you are 98 kgs?
Yes. And that's what, 215 pounds, right?
Yeah, sorry, we'll convert the Americans. I can't remember. I didn't even read it in pounds. I just read the kgs. It did tell me the pounds, but I just read the kgs. So that's correct.
So actually, since I've been in Saigon, it's so hot here and I'm constantly moving and working out. So of course, I done burned off 10 pounds. So I'm now about 200 to 205 pounds. So since being here, I done lost 10 pounds.
That's just sweat, just water. Is it creepy that information, your weight is on the internet? Like my weight isn't on the internet.
You know, I've played basketball my whole life. So just even from a child coming up, the recruiters and just different vlogs, they start vlogging your life from a child. So just at the age I'm at now, I'm just used to it. I just take it as the criticism. If somebody walks up to me, they learn something new about me, I just take it as either going to make me better or is it's going to be something that I learned about myself that they put on the internet. Yeah. I don't think it's creepy. I just think it's just one of those things to where too much is given, much is expected. So it's one of those things to where people will be able to look you up. People look up to you, so they'll be able to also look you up and see what it took for you to actually get to where you at.
So next one is you're from Gary, Indiana. That's true. The next one is that you're scared of thunder.
I actually love thunder. That's actually my nightly routine. I listen to rain and thunder to go
No
sleep.
way.
Yeah.
We're in a good place in Saigon, especially right now in rainy season. No, I made that one up. I didn't read that about you. So that is false. You are 6'5".
Yes, sir.
That one's true. And you are the first ever basketball player on a Vietnam podcast.
Wow.
No, true or false?
Is it true? I think so. I haven't seen any athletes on a podcast or anything.
It's false.
Maybe another video. Is it false?
I think I've forgotten his name now. Justin. He's American Vietnamese.
Oh, okay.
So let's start with basketball. What's it like playing basketball in Vietnam? And what's it like playing in front of people? Because you mentioned, we talked about before we started that I did stand-up comedy. And you said how scary that is, which it is, and standing in front of people. And my reaction was, but you do it in front of thousands of people. So what's that like?
I started with the Saigon Heat early April. I think I want to say April 1st I got here. That was my first weekend in Saigon. And I played the 3-on-3. And it actually was in a mall. I forget the name, something with an A. It's like maybe an hour.
Aeon Mall.
Aeon Mall. It's like maybe an hour from here on a good day. And it was just so surprising to see how many fans came that far just to support us and to watch the game. It was actually packed out. Like the mall for like 2 weeks straight. For 4 consecutive days was just packed out with Saigon Heat, fans. So it was like one of those things that really made my decision to transition to 5-on-5 a lot easier. But just to see the support from the fans and different things like that, I can only imagine how the 5-on-5 was going to be. So just prior seeing the fans at the game the other day was just like, wow. They come with so much energy. They come it's like the playoffs early. The first game of the season, like the playoffs, of course, the ring ceremony and everything, everybody is happy to see that. So just to see all the fans come out first game and it was just so ecstatic and so live, it was just amazing, man.
That actually is something I was going to ask because Vietnam, they're mad about football. Like most countries, football is a worldwide sport. But what's their reaction to basketball? They love basketball as well.
Yeah, and I think, basketball is fairly new. And they still have that rave over it. Oh, it's so exciting. It's so nice, so fun. It's just back and forth, back and forth. So just to see the development in Asia in general, just coming from China to Thailand to Vietnam, just to see the growth and how the people just connect with it is just amazing. You see the younger kids from the older people. I mean, like our fans range from maybe 5 or 6 years old to maybe 50, 60 years old. So it's amazing to see, man.
Now, do you know why young people... I'm laughing already. Do you know why young people in Vietnam love basketball so much? Have you heard this yet?
No, I haven't.
So I used to teach English, and this would be a common question, and ask anyone who's been here long enough, they'll tell you this is 100% true. Ask a young Vietnamese person why they like playing basketball. Because it makes them taller.
I can see that.
I
can
swear
see
to God, I
that.
swear. They say either swimming or basketball.
Because it stretches you out. Okay.
People in Vietnam are becoming taller and bigger because of diet and because it's becoming a wealthier country. It's not really anything to do with basketball, but I remember the first few times I heard it, honestly, and you heard it time and time again. So I think it's like an old wives' tale, is that if you play basketball, you become taller. And who was it? My friend Lewis, who had been on this podcast, he made the music. I talk about him a lot. He was telling me just recently that a student of his or somebody he knew, I can't remember the exact details, but her dad told her that she had to stop playing basketball because she was becoming too tall.
Wow, really? I've heard that if you're running a lot on your feet, that your feet get bigger. I never heard that basketball makes you taller.
You're gonna
I'll have to
get
look
to
that
ask
up.
that now. Next time you
I'll
meet
have
a
to
young
look
fan,
that up.
honestly, they'll probably be. Do you get it a lot? People ask you about how you're so tall.
They don't ask me how I'm so tall, but they always ask me how tall am I. So that's one of the first questions is either where are you from or how tall are you?
Yeah. So I feel it a lot. I mean, even just yesterday, I was in a lift. I mean, I'm 6 foot, which is not especially tall. It's kind of tall. It's not. I'm not small. I think of it as average height, but I think it is a little bit taller. And I noticed that I'm taller than most people, especially in Vietnam. For you, it's 6'5". Do you get it a lot? Do you get funny looks? I just wanted to give you a quick reminder about our sponsor of this season of a Vietnam podcast, Premier Dental. They really are experts at what they do. Their team is trained in Australia, France, and the US, and so they combine global expertise and high standards with really, truly personal care. You have to go there to see it. If you need any sort of dental work, whether you're in Vietnam or the rest of the world, make sure you go to the show notes or just go direct to premierdental.vn and book an appointment today. You can even book a chat with them if you're overseas to see how they can help you. All right, let's get back to the episode.
The first 2 months in China, I literally thought like anywhere I went, all eyes was on me. It made it so hard for me to just walk through places and just be comfortable because it was like everybody is staring at me and I know it. If I turn right here, it might be somebody recording me with a phone, or it might be somebody behind me tracing me the whole way. But after a while, it just teaches you how they're just fascinated because it's not too often where you'll see somebody that tall in a country like this. So it's like, to you, it might be regular. You go to America, you tall guys everywhere, but you come to Asia, it's like 6'5". And to me, I'm like, oh, I'm just average height. But I know plenty of guys are 7 foot. So for me, it's 6'5" is just average.
Have
And
you
to
had
them,
anyone
they're like,
touch you?
oh yeah, especially my hair. They walk up, they touch my hair.
That was my next question, because there's a comedian here. She's left now, Angie the Diva. She's American, black, big hair, and she would talk about it on stage in her bit about she could see it coming. I think the phrase she used, which made me laugh so much, they'd telegraph it. She I'd see right away before they even made a movement. She's like, they're about to touch my hair. They're going to touch my hair. They're going to touch my hair. And then suddenly like.
So for me, it's just like, I've been asked more than just, oh, I'm just going to touch your hair. So I respect it to where but most of the time it's just maybe an older lady.
Yeah.
Or like a young, cute lady. So I'm just like, yeah, sure, you can touch my hair, of course. It's no foul.
Right.
Unless somebody just walk up and just pull it, and I'm like, oh, what's going on? I think I had that one time, but I was in a big crowd with kids signing autographs, and I felt my hair get snapped back. I'm like, what is going on? And it was a kid just pulling my hair. But it was a small kid. I'm like, where do you come from? You're sitting on somebody's neck just pulling my hair. And I'm like, what is going on?
I've only ever had it once, someone touched my nose, which they said it, and then someone translated, and they were like, they're saying you have a big nose, and they were like this, like touching my nose. And then it's not just your height as well. Do you feel like you stand out in Asia as a tall black man as well?
Yes, and by me having a lot of tattoos. Of course, in the Asian culture, it's like common for people to have tattoos, but when they see a black guy, they be like, oh my God, you have so many tattoos, and you're black, and you're tall. What do you do? Are you famous? Are you an athlete? I'm like, yeah, I just
You're like, yes and yes?
Yeah, I just write books.
There's actually, I don't know if you know this one as well. So one of our friends here, she's a photographer, and she was doing a photo shoot with a very handsome man, white guy, but covered in tattoos. And so her assistant, who was her mum, so she'll know who I'm talking about if she's watching, went with her basically just to help and check out this gorgeous white guy, right? He is very good looking. He's a model. But apparently all the Vietnamese assistants, what they were saying was he must be so rich because he's covered in tattoos. So that's what they see money, because they realize that tattoos cost money. So if you get a lot of attention from the females with your tattoos, they may just be after your money.
You never know, so hey. Sometimes it's the money, sometimes it's the creativity, sometimes it's, hey, how are you able to go through all that pain?
Yeah, I've got one tiny tattoo here that I got done when I was 20, so over 20 years ago, and it
Oh
was
wow.
agony. I don't know how you do it. I think
Oh yeah. Oh
it's
yeah.
so painful.
Oh yeah. This is one of those things to where I started off in art. So that was like the first thing I've ever fell in love with, just drawing and designing and just pretty much like decor. So that's one of my biggest things I used to love to do just in school, around the house, just fashion, things like that. So it kind of like, once that kind of dialed down a little bit, it grew into me just falling in love with the tattoos. Now my tattoos I pretty much designed and drew out for myself. So it was one of those things. My mom seen my first one and she looked at me, she said, I see this is going to be an issue. And I said, I don't know for sure, but yeah, all my favorite basketball players have them. So
I mean, now it's kind of more fashionable not to have any tattoos, which I can only have a small one. I forget I have it, and then I see it in a picture, or my wife will mention it. I'm like, oh yeah, fuck, I forgot I have that. But I remember when I came home with my tiny little tattoo. I didn't tell anyone I was doing it, and my dad was like, "That's not real. That's not real." And I was like, pulled off the bandage, covered in blood, and he's like, "Oh, that's real." And I was like, "Yeah, no, it's definitely real." Now I have another question for you that only just happened when we were outside, and you actually didn't notice it, right? Now I get this. I call it the white man nod. If I see another white guy, they've got to nod at me, and most of the time I've got to nod at them as well. You could call it the expat nod, but I think it's the white man nod. And I remember talking to J.K. Hobson about this, who's African-American comedian here, and he's, oh yeah, no, it's not a white guy thing. Like, black guys do that as well. I don't think you noticed, but as we were walking in, there was a black guy with dreads walk by us. Yeah, you didn't. I think because you were looking the other direction, he nodded. I laughed. I just saw him look. He tried to get your attention and gave you like a nod.
oh, I didn't even, that's
And I was
crazy.
like,
I
he
didn't
just
even
got the
see
black
him.
man nod. I've
You
seen
know?
that guy before. He's never nodded at me.
Yeah, it's crazy because I'm just such a nice person that I always greet people. Even if it's a person I know that's not going to speak back or they're not interested at all, I'm the person I'm going to always greet you. I'm going to even give you a nod, a smile, or a hand gesture, or maybe a hug. But I'm definitely one of those people that's going to always give you the nod. Always. Especially if you look at it. I just feel like it's just, it's just manner to be like, okay, if you're looking at me, then you never, okay, how you doing? Maybe you never know. I didn't met people and build relationships just off of a head nod or just stepping outside my comfort zone and be like, hey, how you doing? How's your day going? And you never know who you'll be stepping in front of and talking to. I just thank God that I'm that way because honestly, you lose out on just amazing experiences by just staying within yourself. So even being in another country like this, even when I was in China, I was just going around, just experiencing. I met so many different people in China. Now I literally have a home in China to where they will probably never let me go home. They didn't even want me to go to Vietnam. They're like, no, stay, stay, stay. I was like, but I gotta go. I got a contract. Okay, yeah, but when you get done there, make sure you come back.
So how did you end up in Vietnam then?
It's crazy. The China basketball was like going down through a down month to where we wasn't having games. The leagues were ending. And now once one league in or once 5-on-5 end and the 3-on-3 starts to pick up. I reached out to a couple of teams who I knew was actually in this tournament. Yeah, actually turned me down. One team offered me the contract, and then after a while, a couple of days, they was like, we think we're gonna go with another guy. I didn't hold any grudge. I just wished him the best of luck. And then right out of the blue, a day or two after that, Coach David Grice, which is our head coach now, he reached out to me, was like, well, your guy Marcus, which is one of my guys, he's actually from Gary, Indiana as well. He's been living in Asia for about 8 or 9 years now as well. So he's been in Manila in the Philippines. Now he's in Bangkok. He was here. So he's like, yeah, your guy's Marcus here. He was just telling me how good you are and how well you'll fit with the team. We're looking to offer you a contract if you want to come play in a 3-on-3. It's late notice, but we need you to come to Vietnam within the next couple of days. But we got to get the visa and everything done. But how does that sound? And I was like, Vietnam? I said, I'm already in Asia. I've been to plenty of places. I was like, I'm willing to come and experience that. I came, and I think right after that, it was like, yeah, so we need you to come a little bit sooner.
The
Can
2
you be here?
days.
Yeah, because they was actually in Japan at the time with the
No.
qualifier. Yeah. And I was like, I don't have anything going on. I'm just training every day, just trying to waste time and get through the day. So I was like, I can be there whenever you need me to come. I just entered the contract offer just with humility. And I just came into it with just the utmost respect. And I just was like, you know what? I honestly believe that this is going to be something big for me. So instead of just looking at what it was and what it is, I honestly just took a chance and I was like, why not? It's another country I get to visit. It's another place I get to see that probably 90% of the people in my life I know that's never visited. So why not go and check it out and be able to spread the knowledge and be able to tell my family about another beautiful place in Asia, which is Vietnam, which I never would have thought I would love as much as I do now.
It's easy to fall in love with,
So-
right? I want to ask you, as an American, right, what were your preconceptions of Vietnam?
Hello, I'm Steve Ahern, one of the judges of the Asia Podcast Awards. I'm interrupting this episode to let you know that you're listening to an award-winning podcast. This podcast won its category in the 2024 Podcast Awards, so you know you're listening to quality. Enjoy your listening experience, and congratulations to the team who created this award-winning podcast for you.
My preconceptions of Vietnam was like beach. Beach. I didn't really have much other than just the beach. Then I looked up Ho Chi Minh City and I just seen the beautiful buildings and I seen all the tourist attractions. And I seen war this, war that, war that. Then there was people in China telling me, oh yeah, don't go to Vietnam. There's a war going on. I said, I'm pretty sure that I wouldn't have got a contract offer if there was a war going
I'm also
on in
pretty sure that
Vietnam.
finished 50 years ago, but
I
yeah.
said, yeah. Then I got here, and I honestly, in the back of my head, I think it kind of stuck a little bit. But when I actually got here, and as soon as I touched down on the ground, I just felt, wow, this is, I like it.
Yeah.
You know, it feels very wholesome. Like it feels like there's a place where people actually love where they are. They love their country. They love, you know what I'm saying? They take care of everything here. Like you can see how the people really value the quality of life that they have here. People get out every day and run, bike, kids outside playing, having a good time. You see people out just mingling and different things like that. You see all the different races of people come together to make this hot pot of just so many different races of people. Is amazing. The weather every day.
The weather is the
90
best thing, I
degrees.
know.
The food, amazing. So when you told me, he was like, yeah, I was vegan, but I'm not vegetarian anymore. I can see why.
Right.
Because the food here is so clean. Asia in general, like most of the food is plant-based, it's farm grown, it's healthy food, it's good food. But the food here, honestly, is probably the best food that I've tasted in Asia so far. I love it. I love it. And the fruit. Can't get enough of the fruit.
Here is so good. My wife and I just recently came back from Thailand. We actually think Thai food is better. Just don't tell anyone that, even though I just told everyone that listens to this podcast. I think Thai food is slightly better, but Vietnamese food is ridiculous. The reason I was asking what were your preconceptions as an American, and I want to actually know as well, what were your family's preconceptions or conceptions when you said, I'm moving to Vietnam?
So I have a funny story. It's funny that you asked me that because my mom is like my best friend. So anytime I make a decision or anytime I just say, Mom, I want to do this, I always consult with her, get her insights on it, how you feel, get that motherly intuition. So I told my mom, I said, yeah, Mom, I'm in China. The next spot now is Vietnam. I've been offered a contract. Here's the details. What do you think? She's like, Vietnam? She was like, there is a community there with Thai women that are mixed with black. She was like, you should give me a grandchild. Why you there? She was like, I would not be mad at that. She was like, why not? And I was like, Mom, how do you know all this? She was like, you know me. I just read and I learn things. As soon as you told me, I did a little research. And I was like, really? I was like, that's probably the best feedback I got from you since I've been in Asia. She was like, yeah, if you want to stay out there, you might as well just stay. I don't mind. I
Go
can come
spread your
visit you.
seed, go sleep with why Thai women in Vietnam?
But Ma, she was just like, they're
You're
very,
like, I said Vietnam,
they're very
not Thailand.
beautiful. Yeah, they're very beautiful. Give me a half mixed child. Give me a half mixed grandchild. My family's been waiting for me to have children forever.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
the oldest of my siblings. I was pretty much like that golden child in my family. I was always the boy. I grew up with all women, the only boy in my generation. So it's like me growing up, everybody was waiting on me to have the children, to have my family, different things like that. By me just being a male in a woman's family. So it's now my mom sees me and she's like, yeah, so when are you going to give me some grandchildren? She's like, I see you pretty much are going to be moving to Asia soon. She was like, Vietnam, they're very beautiful. She was like, hey, you might meet a woman there, settle down. She was like, why not give me some grandchildren?
You'll have some very beautiful children for
Yeah.
sure.
That's a lot here, though. You see a lot of people, a lot of foreigners come here and they meet a beautiful Vietnamese woman and they look down the line and they have a beautiful mixed family. And it's like one of those situations to where most of the people here speaks English. So it's one of those things to where not only will your child be able to grow here and still have their English, but they will still be able to learn Vietnamese and different languages like that, which is some of the hardest languages in the world. So it's a beautiful thing, man. I'm not opposed to it. I'm not opposed.
There is a history of Black Asian children here. I don't know how much you know about it, and they were and maybe still are discriminated against as a result of the war, which I don't like to talk about the war too much in this podcast because Vietnam is way much more than that. But one of the most incredible guests I've ever had on this podcast was Suzanne Thi Hien Hook, who was Vietnamese. She was abandoned under a bush and found and taken to an orphanage, and she was Black Vietnamese. And her story is horrific, to be honest. It's the only story I've ever shared on this podcast in all these years that I actually cried at while interviewing because her story is so harrowing. So her dad was a Black GI, Black soldier. Her mum was Vietnamese. But she's like, I have no idea if I was a product of rape or of love or of a financial transaction. Like, I have no idea. I was abandoned. But she came back to Vietnam because she wanted to retrace her heritage and she wanted to meet people that looked like her. And again, this was one of the sad stories. She came back and she was like, nobody looked like me. And she didn't find that, oh, everyone's going to be like, hey, welcome back. She didn't have that experience.
Sometimes stories like that turns out to be some of the most amazing stories ever. Most of those people who go through similar situations like that somehow find a way to have some of the strongest, just resilient, just personalities and just makeup that you would see in anybody, So we hear about stories like that to where it can be here. Sometimes it's in America. Sometimes I've been to Africa. I've been a part to where I was in South Africa, so I was able to experience people who were called colored to where they were discriminated. So I've been able to go around the world and see different views of how the good and the bad, but that's what makes the world. So that's what makes the world just what it is. And so at the end of the day, when you see things like that, it's almost to where you can't help but to root for them to see and find what they're looking for. Because of course, going through this world, not knowing who you truly are as a person, sometimes it's kind of like, I don't really know what I need to do. But not only are you going through it, it's some other people that's going through it. Just like my story, as far as just sports in general, I've been in a situation to where I was at the top and then I hit rock bottom. But just hitting rock bottom probably was the best thing for my career because not only did it build the humility that I was always lacking, but it helped me to not only think about myself, but to put others in perspective. Not how I can help myself, but how can I use the advantages that I have as an athlete and as a Black man or as a teacher or a student to help another person to better themselves and better their lives. So just as you say, her story, she can help another person who might be going through that. Or
she came back to Vietnam and opened an orphanage.
Oh, wow.
And directly help people. So some of that's partly where I was crying when I was doing this interview, because it was just to hear her story and the difference that she made and came back and helped people was absolutely incredible. So if you haven't listened to that episode, go back, just search Suzanne Thi Hien Hook. It was a few years ago now. I did it during lockdown, but I've done over 300 episodes now, and that's the one that always stands out to me.
I'm going to go check that out too.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. So tell me a bit about the highs and the lows then.
As you can see, you can look it up. It's probably one of the top things when you look up my name. I was kicked out of college when I was at Oklahoma State. My
Did not see that, to be honest.
I was dismissed from the school, from the team, which puts me out of the school since I don't have the scholarship anymore. So it was just a time in my life where I was just an immature kid, just not taking advantage of the opportunities that I had. It was nobody's fault but mine. But as a kid, when you look in that situation, of course you don't think, oh, they don't like me, or, but at the end of the day, you have to look at it from perspective to be able to take the criticism for yourself, to understand that, okay, when you make a mistake, it always has consequences. No matter where you are in life or who you are, you're still going to have those consequences. So just to learn from those mistakes on not how to value opportunities. Just like this opportunity I'm in now, I could have looked at it all. It is what it is. I don't really think that's for me. I think I'm better than that. But at the end of the day, opportunity is an opportunity, whether it's what you want or what you don't think you need. So at the end of the day, for me, it was one of those situations. I look back in my career, early in my career, to where, okay, somebody offered you an opportunity. and you downplay it, or you just push it off to the side, and you might miss the biggest blessing in your life. So by me getting kicked out of college, I was able to go back home and just really just decompress and understand that I have to mature more as a man. I have to mature more as a leader, because in life, sometimes some people can get away with certain things, but I couldn't. So I just felt like my calling was a little bit bigger, and my calling was not for myself, but it was more so for others around me who I can help. And as a younger kid, it's hard to accept that, because of course everything's about me. I want to be this. I have dreams. I have aspirations. But at the end of the day, when you can take a step back and look outside of yourself, you can see that, okay, this opportunity right here never worked out. I've been in it 4 or 5 times. The outcome is always the same. But I have all the talent. I have all the ability to do it. But why isn't it working? Why am I not in the NBA? At the end of the day, you got to look at it from a different standpoint. And I looked at my standpoint, and I'm like, okay, at that age when I was good enough and ready, I'm still is, but at the age where I was looking to push for the NBA and things like that, my maturity level was so poor. For someone to give me that amount of money with that immaturity probably could have been a bigger downfall for me.
I can't imagine getting the money now. And when I look back and think some of these contracts in football, whatnot, you're on £500,000 a week or whatever it is. I don't know what it is in basketball exactly, how it compares. Probably similar, but just stupid money. What would I do at 18 with that money? I had no money when I was 18, and I still did stupid things. If you gave me a contract that amount,
just running wild,
I would be dead within a year, probably. I would be dead within a year.
And that's what I was thinking. And I knew that, because where I was in life, I was just lost. And I was just blowing in the wind back and forth, just able and just manipulating. And just my mind was just not mature enough to understand that, okay, you're bigger than what you think you are. You think basketball this, basketball that, but you have the ability to do so much more. And I had put myself in a position where I was only thinking basketball. Even when I was in college, I didn't really put myself in a position to where, okay, Davon, you have all these different abilities mentally, you know what I'm saying, to where you can separate yourself from just sports. Sports can be the anchor, but you can still have something to fall back on, because one day that ball is going to stop bouncing. But now, where I'm at in my life now, I'm able to really slow myself down. I'm able to really think and make decisions, you know what I'm saying, based off of a better mindset of I'm knowing that if I do this, it's going to come a consequence. Or if I do this, I know this is what the outcome is going to be. So now I look at my life, and I can look at the things that I'm doing now, and I'm happy. Just as far as basketball, I didn't know anything that I loved outside of basketball. You know, if the ball was to stop bouncing, I would have just been on the side of the road trying to figure out life. But now that I look, I was able to take that time to learn myself as a man and to learn myself as a person. Minus basketball, I can see so many possibilities. Now I was able to sit back a year. Basketball didn't work. I couldn't get a contract anywhere. And I just learned more about myself, to where I was like, I love to help people. Whenever I'm helping somebody, whenever I'm doing something else for somebody I know is positive, is doing something positive in their life, I get so much joy. So I dialed back, and I was just like, you know, what can I do outside of basketball that would bring me peace and it bring me happiness, at the same time to be able to help my community and help my family and help my people around me. And I kind of like clicked one day, wow, I know what I need to do. People ask me every day, what is that you're eating? What do I need to do to get this? What I need to do to lose this fat? Or I got it. So I dialed in for like maybe 3 months every day. I don't think I left the house for probably a couple weeks, to where it was like, I'm so dialed, other than to go to the gym, I'm so dialed in to where it became addictive. All the knowledge I was learning and all the different things that I was figuring out, I was like, I should write a book. My mom was an author. She never finished a book. She always got writer's block, or just dealing with my family and things like that. She was never able to get the book done. So that was another motivation. Okay, I know my mom would love this. And also it would give her some satisfaction of, okay, she know that she might have not been able to finish her books, but she motivated me to be in a position for the next generation to finish some books and to create that generational balance and longevity for my family. So I came up with the books, called my mom. I asked her, I would love it if you collab with me and help me with these books. So we ended up getting closer. She ended up seeing a different side of me. And it was just one of those things to where I was like, this is going to be it right here. And I didn't think about making any money from it or anything like that. It was just one of those things to where I know that there's going to be people that value this book, and there's going to be people that take this book and read this book, and it's going to change their lives. And I done had people text me, call me, and say, man, bro, reading your book or buying your books, bro, done really helped me change my life. I got a guy, he just told me a couple weeks ago, bro, I done lost 20 pounds this month, bro, just by reading your book. And just hearing things like that, it does. Well, I can't even explain how good it makes me feel. Mine is doing anything outside of basketball. My most proudest moments, honestly, was when I finished that book and I published it. Those 3 books, and I published them. And when I called my mom and let my mom know, yeah, I'm going to go all the way with this. Not only am I going to do the books, but I'm going to get them translated while I'm here in Asia. I'm going to put them on the Asian market as far as in Mandarin and Vietnamese, and everywhere I go around the world, I'm just going to keep building from this and building with this. So one of those things, man, is just I'm extremely proud of myself for just not finishing the book, but to be able to stay consistent and really seeing something in my life really coming to fruition that I've manifested over years and years. So
Well done.
thank you.
And is that what led to you becoming a vegetarian?
No, what led to me becoming a vegetarian, I've never been a person that, if you know me, I'm not a person that's looking to eat any kind of animals. Never. Like, I was a kid, my mom would make me sit at the table because I would bite the chicken one time and think I'm done with it. Because as soon as I see a vein or the bone, it's just, it's not for me. So I don't criticize people eat meat. It's just never been something that I've been able to do because I've always extremely loved vegetables and fruits. And I watched my grandmother grow fruits and vegetables in her garden every day. And all I ate was watermelons and cabbages and different vegetables and fruit from my grandmother's backyard, just growing up with her. So it was one of those things I was just used to. I looked up outside my last year of college. I decided to go pescatarian. And then after a
Which
while,
is like a cheating vegetarian.
Exactly.
I hate when I meet people. I've met people over the years, but I'm a vegetarian, but I eat salmon. That's not a vegetarian. Or they just say they're a pescatarian. I'm like, why? A fish is still a meat. It's still an animal. Anyway, so sorry, continue.
No, you're fine. So yeah, after that, it was just in my head. I was like, if I can go pescatarian, I can go all the way vegetarian. And I had a friend at the time. He was telling me like, yeah, man, stop eating all that, man. Just do it. Just fast first. Put your body through the phase to where it starts to go into flight mode, where it just start breaking all that stuff down and discarding it right out. So all your cravings for fish and different things like that would just completely go away. That's the best way to do it. He was like, you already took the bulk of the meat out of your diet. So it's like, just fast and just pretty much just come back within yourself to understand, okay, I can do this. And that's what a fast does. If you can fast, then you can pretty much cut, you know what I'm saying, all those distractions and all the things that you're creating a discipline for out of your diet. So it was one of those things to where I was like, okay, I'm just going to hang with you for this week. And then you can just keep motivating me and stay on me. And then we can do this week fast. And hopefully after this week fast, I can go ahead and start it off. And I looked up and I was like, wow, it's been 2 weeks. I haven't ate fish or meat. Now it's been a month. It's been 2 months. And I don't miss it. But I feel so much better without it. It's like, I think I can do this. And I look up and I'm like, now it's 4 or 5 years. I'm going to family dinners and family outings. And my family's Caribbean, so they eat curry gold. They eat all the different Caribbean dishes. So I'm just like, yeah, I don't know how this is going to go. I go to my first family function. They like, because this is like during the pandemic, after the pandemic. So, like family gatherings and all that was pretty limited because people didn't want to integrate too much if you're coming from different households. So once all that ended and I came and we had our first family gathering, everybody's like, oh yeah, you're vegetarian now. You sure you don't want none of this? They like rubbing it in my face. Oh, it's so good. I'm like, you know what? I'm at the point now where I don't even get teased by it.
Yeah. So I was a vegetarian for 10 years and I started mostly for environmental reasons. I was reading lots about, it wasn't mostly health reasons, it was environmental, such a negative impact on the environment and it is on your health as well. What I find interesting is that I don't think it's for everyone which I want to know about you, right? Because you're an athlete and I saw your Instagram. You're absolutely jacked under that shirt. There's not a 6-pack, there's like a 12-pack under that shirt. But for me, So I'm naturally very skinny. I always have been my whole life. I'm naturally very skinny. By the time I'd been a vegetarian for 10 years, I was down to, I was down to 62 kgs and I'm 6 foot. And I see pictures now and I'm like, so embarrassing, like how thin I was. I didn't realize. And the worst part was, I remember, so I played football for a pub team. It's just a kickabout on a Sunday, nothing serious. But I went shoulder to shoulder with this guy and we just knocked shoulders running for the ball. And I just fell over because I was so much lighter than him. And I heard a guy on my team go, haha, he's like a feather. And I wasn't mad because I was like, yeah, I'm fucking so small and so light. Like I just bounced off of him because 60 kgs against, he was probably like 90 or 100. So then I came to Vietnam, which is what I'm going to ask you next is, I came to Vietnam, I was a vegetarian, still massively underweight, and I'd been trying to put weight on. So living in New Zealand before, really healthy living, I'd eaten loads of eggs, cheese. I wasn't vegan. Eggs, cheese, milk, protein powder. I was having pea protein powder, I think. So I was trying to get my protein up. I was going to the gym and I just could not put on weight. Like just couldn't do it. Don't know why. You can ask my wife. She's amazing with food and nutrition. And she was trying to help me and it was just not going on at all. We came to Vietnam and we were both vegetarian at this point. Now, this is what I want to ask you, because here in Vietnam, what we found was there's a lot of vegetarian food because there's a big Buddhist culture here. But it's all fried. Everywhere you go to Cam Chai. See how bad my Vietnamese is. I even just said that last week. CHAY means vegetarian. But we didn't know this in the beginning, so we would say chai, trying to ask a question like chai. That, if you put it up, it means fire. So we were walking into restaurants just going fire, fire, fire. That's why I don't speak Vietnamese, because I just fuck up. But anyway, you get Cam Chai here, CHAY, and every time we had it was delicious. But we'd ask what it is, and it's just reconstituted vegetables or fat or something. I can't remember how you describe it now, and it's all deep fried and a big plate of rice. So we're eating it, and we're like, this is just not healthy. Like, we can't live like this. And this is 10 years ago. Now it's different. Now there's a lot more specialized shops and stores. But 10 years ago, you couldn't really get much of that stuff, and if you could, it was really, really expensive if you wanted to get vegetarian stuff. And so partly as well, I needed to put on weight. I was like, I want to put on weight. I want to put on muscle. And so I made the decision I got to start eating meat. So I started, and also the pork here. You've not tried it yet. It's so delicious. The pork here, I've never eaten pork in my life, but here there's pork everywhere. So I started eating meat. I managed to bulk up. I'm pretty steady with my weight now. I'm pretty happy with my size. Like I look at myself now in the mirror. I don't recognize myself because I see these pictures from 10, 15 years ago, and I'm like, Jesus, Neil, you look bad. How did you get your wife? I don't even know how I got my wife. She's beautiful. I don't know how she fell in love with me. But that, for us coming to Vietnam, was why both of us now eat meat. She does as well, not as much as me, but because we just found it really difficult to be a vegetarian. So how do you cope with that as an athlete and stay at the top of your game?
That's one of the biggest questions I get asked a lot is, how do you maintain weight? How do you maintain muscle and different things like that? So the first thing I tell people is, just like you said, it's not for everybody. I don't force the vegetarian lifestyle on anybody or anything like that. I just tell people to always be intentional with your diet, and being intentional as in learning your body and then learning how to diet your body. So the first thing I always tell people is to make sure you learn your blood type, because your blood type has a lot to do with the makeup of how your body is going to gain weight, lose weight, and how it's going to facilitate different things that you eat. So me just being vegetarian here it's pretty easy because I cook a lot. I love to cook. So one thing I would do is I will always go around to the different markets or just like the different little vendors on the streets and find just healthy ingredients. And what I do is I love to experiment. I'm like a kid in the kitchen. So whenever I'm in the kitchen, I'm just trying to experiment with different things, taste tests. I have a roommate now, so I'm pretty sure he's eating good. He's getting good juice every day. He's pretty much like my little taste tester. I give him different things to taste. So for me, it's not as hard as a lot of people would think. I would say it was harder in China because China is not as diverse in as far as, I would say, foods and fruits as it is here. It's pretty much traditional to where it's either noodles or hot pots. But that's pretty much everywhere in China, unless you go to more of the bigger cities to where you have just like luxury diners and things like that. But it's still not a lot of vegetarian restaurants and things like that. So for me, when I was in China, the thing was I was just fasting. Pretty much each week I would fast, but I would give myself a couple of days out of the week to where I would go to these different restaurants and things like that and try the food because in Asia, they cook with a lot of grease. So you go to places.
Even the vegetables, right? That's even with this kumchai places, you go to these vegetarian places, you get a big plate of rice, some deep fried veggie stuff, which is delicious because it's covered in honey and sugar and soy sauce. And then a big plate of greasy greens, which are delicious. But you're like, that's partly why we're like, this is not healthy. We can't keep eating like this.
It's like contradiction. It's okay, you got the vegetables.
Yeah, that's it, a contradiction.
So it's like, I'm eating it, but it's like, I know it's not doing what I wanted to do or what I needed to do. So it's like, now it's like, I'm thinking it's like they brainwash you to think you're eating healthy. So,
and that's the thing, people think as well, vegetarian, they just automatically think healthy. So even when my wife and I first met, she still makes fun of me for this. She's like, you told me you were a vegan, but you were eating spinach and ricotta, sausage, not sausage rolls, but like rolls. And I remember I was eating couscous and mint with broccoli and some sort of peas, I don't know. But she's like, there's no protein in that. Like you say, like, that's why you ended up wasting. I ended up doing a body analysis and my muscles were 25% under protein for my height because she was like, your body is eating your muscles for protein. I was like, shit. So where do you get your protein for then is my question.
So my protein comes from, I do a lot of greens and I consume mushrooms daily. So one thing, my protein is going to come from my mushrooms. And I don't cook them thoroughly. So what I do is you cook mushrooms on a low heat. You don't really need to season them or put any grease or anything in them. So I cook them very, very mildly to where it's not cooked all the way, but it's still naturally fresh. So you still get the proteins and different things that come from the mushroom. So each mushroom probably holds about, I would say, 8 or 9 grams, which is pretty good. It depends on the mushroom that you get. I eat a lot of lion's mane. Lion's mane is really good for bone density and is really good for your brain as well, for like memory recovery, things like that. So I do that. I do those. I do a lot of greens. I'm not vegan, so I still consume egg. I eat about 8 eggs a day. Yeah, so I do a lot of egg. Yeah. Yeah, but it's crazy. I don't eat much. I do one big meal. I do a rhythm diet each day. So it's like I try to eat with the sun. So like my biggest meal is around like 3 o'clock. And then after that, it's pretty much just snacking on just like either nuts, like different like cashews or pistachios or coconut water and just juice for the rest of the day. Because the remainder of my day is pretty much practice and it's pretty much just like ongoing. So it like keeps me from sitting still and be like, oh, I can't need to eat again. But instead it's okay, I can have me a quick snack here, but most of the time I'm hydrating, especially in this heat. Your hydration is pretty key. So most of my diet here is juice and H2O every day.
Well, you mentioned how you love Vietnamese food, but you can't eat a lot of the good stuff. So what Vietnamese food do you eat? And by the good stuff, I love cam tam, I love bun thịt nướng.
Yeah. So when I first got here, I was like, just live a little. So I went out and I experienced almost every restaurant in Den. So I went to Beppo, which is a team sponsor of ours, but their food is
Beppo sponsors you?
Yeah.
Oh, they're one of my favorite
Yeah,
restaurants.
man, it's pretty clean.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's good.
It's not like it's plant-based food with the contradiction to it. It's like it's mostly clean plant-based food. So I did that.
Wait, I'm thinking of a different place. There's only plant-based food?
I don't think it's just plant-based, but most of the food is plant-based.
Oh,
like they have vegetarian, they have the vegetarian menu,
gotcha,
and then they have the regular menu. Yeah. And then I love Hispanic food and I love Italian food. So I tried all the Italian spots. I tried 6 different pizza places. Then I tried this Mexican spot in Taoyuan called Simple Place. It's like a little hole in the wall spot. It's amazing. It's so good. It's expensive, but it's really, really
Used
good.
to be really cheap.
Yeah.
It used to be one of the cheapest places.
I seen Simple and I was like, okay, maybe I can find a nice little cheap hole in the wall spot.
Yeah.
But it ended up being
It's like everything. Prices have gone up over the last few years. I think rents went up in Taoyuan as well.
Yeah.
But Simple Place is good. But you were eating meat at these places? Or
No.
Oh, no. You're just trying the vegetables. Yeah.
I don't think I will ever go back.
But wait, that's not Vietnamese food. You went to Taoyuan and you had all the expat places.
Yeah.
I mean, you came to Vietnam. What Vietnamese food did you like then?
Oh. I did try, I forget the name of the place, but I tried a traditional Vietnamese place. But it was vegetarian.
Hum? Is that Hum?
I'm not sure. I have a picture on my phone. I'll show you.
I think there's Hum Bistro is a vegetarian place, I think, which is in Taoyuan. And I will give you Bet Pho is Vietnamese as well. But all those other places you mentioned.
But yeah, I've tried a few Vietnamese dishes, like traditional dishes, and I love it. But for the most part, it's pretty much like vegetarian. They don't do much meat, just like a lot. Like rice is the base, mushrooms, maybe some chopped mango and some chopped cucumbers and different things like that. It's just like a lot of water foods, which is good. You can't beat it. But yeah, For me, it's if I'm gonna go and I'm gonna indulge, I'm gonna go somewhere where I know it's like a cuisine I like. Like I'm pretty picky when it comes to food, so I don't really experience. I won't experiment with something outside of what I've had before. But it's like something with that I've had before. I would experiment in a different fashion of the food. So maybe if I have a food that it hasn't been dipped in oil or it hasn't been fried, maybe I'll be like, okay, today I'll cheat a little, just so I don't burn myself out. Anybody could get burned out from anything, so I'm just like, maybe today, weekend, 2 days in a weekend, I'll be like, okay, I can go out, TA Kitchen, something like that.
There used to be a Jamaican place here, but I don't know if it's still here. I've not had it in a long time. I'll look it up afterwards. And then Hayden Lowry, ex-guest of ours, ex-guest as if he's an ex-friend, still a friend, but was a guest on the show. Hayden, I'm sorry if I get this wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's Canadian Jamaican. And he has, I don't know if you still do, I haven't seen it posted in a while, but he was doing like Jamaican pastries. He had a place called Caribe, which I'll look that up right now and see if he's there. So, Rasta pasta? I haven't heard of that. What's Rasta pasta?
They have red peppers, yellow peppers, green peppers. It's like a nice little spicy but sweet sauce with it. And then a mild cheesy like noodle. And then you can get like different variations of meats and things like that, but mostly it comes with just the pasta and like different veggies and stuff like that.
Well, you said you eat about 3 o'clock every day. It's getting to your food time, and I'm hungry now after we've talked about this. I'm going to share with you all my spots because now I'm getting hungry as well. I don't like to think of myself as a foodie, but then when you mention these places, I'm like, yep, I know this. We eat at home a lot, but we eat out a lot as well. So thank you so much for coming on a Vietnam
Thank you
podcast.
for having me. I truly, truly appreciate you. This is awesome, man. I really love what you're doing. You know, this is amazing, man. And I know that we're here now, but I'm gonna go on record to say within the next year, we're gonna be seeing you in a big studio with other podcasters and different things like that. I can truly see that in your future, man.
Thank you very much. That's the plan. That's what I'm going this afternoon to look at a property to see if we can rent out a studio. Yeah. So that is the plan.
Maybe y'all see me.
Hopefully you'll be still playing on the Saigon Heat. I'll hopefully be at a game soon.
Yeah.
You're playing regularly. So again, I've really appreciated this. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening. Remember, we are on YouTube now as well, so maybe you're watching it as well, but I really do appreciate it. All the records we've broken, all the awards that we've won is all because of you tuning in, so thank you so much. Don't forget, rate, review, subscribe, and share this podcast with somebody else who loves Vietnam as well. So thank you so much, and Davon, cheers.
Thank you, man. Cheers. Finish your side juice. You finish yours for me.
Thanks for listening to this episode of a Vietnam podcast. If today's episode made you smile, then make sure your smile is ready to shine with Premier Dental. How good a cheesy segue was that to our sponsor, Premier Dental. Thank you so much, Premier Dental, and you for listening. Check them out. They offer professional, ethical, world-class care right here in Saigon. You can find out more at premierdental.vn.